Oh, my friend, it's so nice to be with you again.
It's wonderful to be with you also. It's always wonderful to be with you.
Yeah.
And we have so much to talk about, even though it's been only a short time.
Yeah. Lots is happening. Like I said to you when we first got together, it's really foggy here and it feels like that's it's exuding. The earth is exuding what I'm feeling. It's almost like I want to like hunker in and be within, and yet I want to hug everything too. It's really, yeah, fascinating.
And it's also fascinating because we have a new moon coming up, and everything about the new moon is tying right into exactly that foggy feeling. She
Yeah.
has this quote in here. Let me see if I find it here. Oh yeah, actually the key words for the new moon are healing, confusing, see the funny side, and see the bigger picture. How
Right.
much more accurate can you get?
Yep. Absolutely confusing. That's definitely come up.
And see the bigger picture. And I mean, the whole thing is just, it couldn't be more well planned. But it's far beyond that. The what's coming up right now, some very large scale changes in how we do things, how we see things.
Mhm.
And um, for instance, the one that's coming up most right now is that the as we ascend the levels to 5D, and a lot of us are experiencing moments or periods of time, especially in groups of 5D, that as we do this, uh, it feels wonderful at the time. And then right afterward, we're taken right back to the ego mind, which is just screaming. And
Mm.
because the new 5D that's coming is changing everything down to the cellular level. A lot of us are feeling a lot of different discomforts. Um, in my case, I've had days where it just felt like everything, every nerve in my body hurt,
Mm.
which is not pleasant.
Mm.
But I understood what it was, and you process, go through whatever methods you need to to let go of that
Yep.
and to allow the 5D to come in.
Right.
And that's the second part of this, is this how we create. And I don't want to use the word manifest because that word is now kind of, it's kind of a trigger word in a lot of ways. But we do create our reality. And how we create that reality is changing. We've been told for years and years that the way to create something in your life is through intention. I want, I have, I will, whatever it happens to be. But that's not necessarily the way to create going forward. The way to create is to allow it to come into you. I
Mm.
allow this to come to me,
Okay.
and or I allow my life to, I allow whatever.
Yeah.
But it's allowing, it's opening up to the universe and allowing the universe to bring it in, which is not technically a new idea, but using it to create is the next step.
Hmm.
And so that's a huge amount of stuff going
Yeah.
on right now, energy and the flows of energy. And uh, it's fantastic to watch if you step back and look at the bigger picture. Most of us are also in the smaller picture, and it can be a little disconcerting.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, for sure. And so, we were talking earlier too about the intentions being the path to that allowing. So we have to kind of know what we're wanting to allow, right?
Yeah.
And then give it a framework in a way, but then know that it's going to come to us in the way that it's divinely meant for us.
And realizing, and this is not new either, that we are the divine power. We
Yeah.
have that divine power within us. This is that one step toward everyone having that knowledge, having um, that perception,
Hmm.
which is accurate,
Hmm.
but it's still a perception that, you know, we all have the same possibility to do this. And at some point in time, like those very long past from us, we will, okay, there's my intention. I allow it to come to me, and there it is. But this is just one step toward that. And so this is going to be a huge change for a lot of people who um, have been told and believe that it's all about the intention.
Hmm.
And a lot of us have found that just having the intention hasn't worked. And
Right.
it's because we didn't open up ourselves. You can have all the intention you want, but if your inner mind, we'll call it the ego mind, does not believe you should have it,
Right.
it's not going to allow you to do it. And you're not going to allow yourself to do it if you have the limiting beliefs.
Hmm.
That comes into the next part of it, which is letting go, releasing, getting rid of all of that stuff that no longer serves. And I know we've said that a gazillion times. Why does it keep coming up? Because there's still more to do.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And because of what I do and being in mental health, I talk about not having to go from a limiting belief to the exact opposite, because going from 0 to 100 is, it's not impossible. It's just, it feels harder and there's less belief, there's less drive because it's further away. And so
Yes,
getting into that neutral zone, right? That contented feeling, or a space that is more believable on the road to having really shifted that negative limiting belief, is a powerful tool as well to allow.
absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely. And it's so important to understand that uh, it is a process, and that processes are easiest if we don't try and go it alone. Trust me on this one. I've done it for 40 years. And, I tell lots of my clients, you can take 40 years like I did, or you can find someone you resonate with, someone that you get and they get you.
Hmm.
And you can take maybe 1 year.
Yeah.
It's your choice.
Right.
I really strongly suggest finding someone who is community, or having a community of like-minded people. It's a whole lot easier that way.
Yeah. And now you're talking in the physical, right? Like here on this plane, finding that
Um,
connection.
it you should have both or all, as the case may be.
Yeah.
But yes, if you're working through traumas, limiting beliefs, negative self-talk, all these kinds of things, find somebody who's been there and somebody who can guide you through it.
Hmm.
And if that's in a community, that's great. If you have the support of more than one, wonderful, fantastic. And that is in the physical, but it also affects everything else.
Of course. Yes. Well, we are whole beings in this limited body. So,
Speaking of which, there's an affirmation in the book that goes right along with that. And I'd like to see if we can change this into allowing. It says, I am healthy, whole, and complete, which is wonderful.
mhm, yeah.
If we change it into allowing. I allow myself to live a life that is healthy, whole, and complete.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
I hope everyone watching this can feel the difference.
Right. I was just going to say the resonance is very different. Yeah. Yeah. So, how does this, like, I brought up loneliness because that's something that has happened. It's a topic that's come up a lot lately in my world, and you and I know, and hopefully the people watching know that we're never truly alone, even if physically we look around and there's no other two-legged or four-legged being, three-legged maybe, in our space. Um,
And we perceive ourselves as separate.
right. Yeah, that separation thing. And I find a lot of the people who are coming from very heart-centered places, whatever spot they are on their journey of knowing the connection, they're lonely and they're sad, and working through that is layered, of course. So does anything resonate that you want to share? Yeah.
Yes, actually, this is part of the process. As you have people who are elevating, they're not elevating, they're expanding, and they're getting into new energies and new ways of being in the world and such. And it is a natural part of that, that if there's other beings around you who maybe in your family or whatever, who are not ready for that and are still holding to the old ways, of course, those people are going to not resonate anymore, and you're going to fall apart from each other. Not necessarily fall, but you're going to move apart from each other. This is very disconcerting, and it can feel very lonely because you may be losing family, friends, and I've had clients who've lost completely, everybody around them. And they're like, why am I doing this? But then they realize where they're going, when they realize where they're going,
Mm-hmm.
and that, okay, my life has changed. I'm in a different environment now.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we talked about this last time, how the two worlds are separating.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and as the two worlds separate, your people are separating from what was and what is too.
Yeah.
So the key here is you feel lonely because you're looking back. If you look forward and you see all of us over here, and you take that one step, just take that one step, you will find new people who are very much moving in the same direction you are.
Yeah.
And so it's very disconcerting again.
Yeah.
I know that word is coming up a lot. That's kind of the theme. uh, but uh, that's what it is you feel alone, you feel separate because you're moving toward this moving beyond this separation. There's this little separation now, and it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the more steps you take either way, you're going to get farther apart.
Mm-hmm.
But there's also a whole bunch of other people either side, and
Right.
you can choose. Do
Right.
you want to stay in fear-based? Do you want to stay in love-based?
Mm-hmm.
And not only can you choose, guess what? You have to choose. It's your choice.
Yeah, which is scary.
It is. Fear-based is what we've been put in and forced into and lived in and told this is the only way for thousands and thousands of years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's kind of scary to walk on this new ground that is untried and untrodden.
Yeah.
And at the same time, it has beautiful flowers everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. I love that. Mm.
And I hope that helps these people who are feeling so discombobulated because of everything that's happening.
Well, confused, I think, is a general consensus. Like that confusion as to why do things keep happening to me, or I'm trying to do this for myself and these hurdles come up, and is it me bringing it on, and or is it the universe just showing me what I've come to learn in my experience with that kind of stuff is that it's the universe helping me solidify my decision.
Yeah.
It's giving me an option right to the bitter end. And sometimes the choice has to be made over and over and over again in this human physical consciousness, because it is that you're stepping over the creek or you're stepping over the river or whatever you want to call it. It's that next step, next level of self. So yeah, yeah, powerful stuff.
And very, very, um, it so helps to look at the big picture,
Mm-hmm.
to know that, okay, just because this little stuff is happening, if you can look at what is working, what is, and I don't really like the word working either, what is moving the world forward, what is, um, instead of looking at all of the stuff that is around us, that is all the fear based and is pushing the fear based and really, really advertising fear based. But how much do they say about all the good stuff? Look for the good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Look for the stuff that feels light, joyful,
Yeah,
and be grateful every time you see it.
yeah, helps you expand. Mm-hmm. Mm. Yeah, allowing the opportunities,
Yes.
right? Yeah, it's very cool.
Inviting and in allowing the opportunities.
Yeah, yeah. The
And
the
that
con
might be, I've heard it, somebody was talking and they said, I found a penny. And I said, thank you, more, please. And then I found two pennies. And then I said, thank you, more, please. But at some point in time, the ego mind starts going, aren't you getting greedy? As long as you're saying, thank you, more, please, you're not greedy.
Mm.
You're allowing, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, neat.
And more, please, is an ask, but you can also say, you can target it a little more. Thank you, I allow more into my life.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. I know I've shared this with you, maybe in a video in the past, but um, numbers have always presented themselves to me, whether it's a consecutive run or same digit over and over again, regardless of where or how it presents. It always comes with a knowing energy, and and I remember the first time I was in grade 10 and I looked at the clock, and then afterwards I talked to my mom and I said, what was going on at this time? She go, oh my heavens, and then she said that's what was happening for me. And it was this connection, and sometimes we have those connections with our parents or with someone else in our lives. Um, but I know that giving just what you said, and maybe not in the same words, but thank you. Thank you for always being here. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you for showing me what I need in any given moment. And um, whether it's a feather in the middle of the hallway that I have no idea how it got there, or um, a neat cloud pattern, or the numbers, or a song on the radio, right? These things, these beams of light
Yeah.
are always here for us to notice, to recognize.
And on that note, especially with the numbers, um, just very recently, I was there was a day that the numbers were like perfect. Uh, and on that day, I wasn't seeing anything like consecutive numbers, 111 or one, something like that.
Mhm.
I was seeing consecutive as in 1, 2, 3, 4. And I'm like, this is interesting. And I asked, what's this? And they said, oh, the numbers as you have been, as has been presented to you, they're changing. Now, this is a process. It's not going to happen overnight. So nobody needs to get all upset about it. I still see 1111,
Yeah.
but I see a lot more 1, 2, 3, 4
Mhm.
because these are ascension numbers and we are ascending. And so they are supporting our ascension 1, 2, 3, 4.
I love it. I love it. Hmm. And giving ourselves the opportunities to take that mini moment,
Yeah. And
right?
just like you said, thank you for your support and guidance. Thank you for, it doesn't need to be more than that. A lot of people, a lot of quote authorities out there now in the field are saying, ones mean this, two mean this, blah, 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 blah. Maybe you can just be grateful
Yeah,
for a show of support, you know?
exactly. Yeah. And I think, that grade 10 story, isn't it a great example of not needing to know what it means in the moment, like right now, because we, even more so over the last, how many decades have we really gotten into this fast-paced now lifestyle, and divine timing is kind of like this side note where, oh yeah, it'll be divine timing, but I want it now. And by me connecting with that clock in that grade 10 math class, I can see the people around me. I can see my teacher still. Like I'm there now if I think of this memory. But in that moment, I didn't know the depth of it. And it stuck in my brain. And then I had the resonance to ask my mom, what was going on. And then it unfolded. So in the time that it was supposed to. So allowing, there it is again, right? Just that, okay, I see you. I hear you. I notice you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
And stepping back from that high pressure, high pace, gotta go, gotta go, to something I know, someone that you used to work with it's very famous from coming from this person. I have enough time. I
Yeah,
have time. Step
exactly.
back and take a breath and just realize, you just what good is it doing you to put yourself under that much stress and really hurt your body and
Mhm.
maybe just take it back a little help and have a little time,
Mhm.
even one breath,
Yeah.
one breath.
Yep.
It's
Absolutely.
amazing how much stress one breath can relieve, one conscious breath.
Yeah. And wherever we hold the tension, with all the NICU parents I work with, I talk about mini moments. If we're at the counter brushing teeth and you notice you're brushing your teeth like this, just, oh, okay, brush your teeth, right? If you're at the sink and you're thinking about everything okay, I got to go and get Timmy at 2 and da 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 and do this and this and this. Oh, okay, I have time.
Or
It's
if
just,
you're eating and you're going,
yeah.
oh, wait a minute.
Oh, let's
Okay, I'm going to chew this right.
let's taste this. Let's taste this for a second. Yeah. Yeah, the mini moments. right. Yeah. And it doesn't take long. It's seconds.
Yeah,
Yeah, seconds.
you have a second.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do. We have all sorts of fun things. We talked about time last time too. So, I
Time
have
is really, really, really changing
this.
as it needs
Yes.
to. Our linear time is not serving us. We've allowed linear time to become a master, not a
Mm-hmm.
tool,
Mm-hmm.
and that needs to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's come into play like where I am, we get very dark. We're coming into the darkest part of our year, coming to December 21st, the solstice, and we feel it. We want to quiet down. We don't want to go anywhere after 3:30 and it's even darker earlier further north. Um but time and so the sleep is also an issue right now where people are feeling like they sleep too much or they don't sleep enough because they're awake and they need to be awake because they have all the lights on in the house because they're trying to stay awake so that they don't wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. And then magically, of course, our phones often listen to us. I get this article about a medieval sleep study and how they used to have first sleep and second sleep. And the shamans and the teachers back then said, oh, well, when you wake up between, midnight and 3 is the equivalent now. This is the best time to do your baking or to restart the fire or to make love, like have sex or all this stuff because you're in that sort of primal between sleep zone. And sure enough, that's when maybe we talked about this before, and it's where we have the deepest connection quite often to spirit.
Absolutely. That's when so many of us are told, okay, by the way, you're going to get up and write now.
Yeah. Exactly. I feel like we talked about this. Did you and I talk about this last time?
Not
Oh,
last time. I think it's been some time back, but it's
okay.
very, very common, and it's coming up a lot right now.
Yeah.
I have clients going, "Do you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning frequently?" Yes, I do.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Not necessarily by choice, but yes.
Yeah.
But what I find is, okay, you're sleeping and you wake up at this weird time.
Mhm.
When it's supposed to be the middle of the night and everybody's supposed to be sleeping.
Mhm.
If you then get up and do whatever it is that you are supposed to do at that moment, and they generally tell you, and then you go back to bed. For me, as soon as I get back in bed, I'm just in a state of gratitude for so much, everything that they've given me and everything. And then I go back to sleep, and it's the best sleep of the night until I wake up. And I can wake up then refreshed. And maybe it's only a couple more hours. Maybe it's like, depending on what time it is, 2 or 3 hours.
Mhm.
But it is such a wonderful sleep.
I love that. It's true. Yep.
Instead of fighting it, here it goes again.
Yeah.
Got that word? Allow.
I love it. Well, and I was just going to say that's how babies are. Like, if we are really tending to our children, we notice that they wake up to feed. This is what they need. And then they have a beautiful sleep. And then they wake up to feed. And then they have this, like, very gentle, loving sleep, you know? But if they wake up and they're not tended to, if they're not cared for, if they don't get what they need, then it's very disjointed. Why should it be any different as we grow up?
Because
Right?
you're an adult.
Yeah. Well, who says? Let's redefine that, right? So
And that is a perception, by the way.
exactly. Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, this is all just so comforting. I was going to use magical. There's like uh, magic really has nothing to do with it in the sense of how it's defined right now, but the feeling that magical brings, right?
And that's the difference between magic, MAGIC, and magic, MAGICK.
Okay.
Magick is what we're feeling so much of now. And that's what we use to create and to, um, to process. And I mean, it's everywhere right now.
Yeah. Yeah. That's it's nice to know. Again, it's comforting.
And it's
And we
normal.
yeah.
It's our normal state. And we're moving back to our normal state,
Mm.
which is disconcerting because we haven't had our normal state for thousands of years.
Yeah. I wonder why we forgot about it.
We didn't, yeah, kind of we chose to, but we were all but forced to
Mm.
because that didn't serve the powers that be. But
Mm.
again, not necessarily us right now, these people, but us in the past, chose that. We chose to
Yeah.
have and allow the power structure.
Yeah.
And the power structure took the power. And then we allowed them to have our power.
Right.
A big part of what's going on right now is we're taking it back and saying, no, you don't get it anymore.
Mm.
It's mine and I'm not giving it away.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
that's a big part of forgiveness too, is I'm not going to allow you to have my power.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily this was right or this was okay, but more, I'm not going to allow you to have my power.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Mm. Nicely said. Yeah. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
Not quite. You are a trauma therapist.
Yeah.
I work with traumatized people.
Oh, I know. It was being facetious. Very cheeky. Oh my goodness.
Some of
Yeah.
us, it only takes 40 years to get through that.
Yeah. Sometimes it takes longer. And I think the point is being aware of it.
Yes.
Point is the coming to that realization. And however many lifetimes or whatever it takes, right? Sometimes it's a really arduous journey. And we have to give ourselves a lot of compassion, a lot of grace, a lot of care, knowing that we are too always growing.
And looking at the bigger picture, you can see so many examples. Anyone can see so many examples around them.
Mm-hmm.
People who have made it to that other side of this
Yeah.
trauma and such.
Yeah.
And how much better, and I'm just going to say it, how wonderful their lives are now
Yeah.
compared to what they were before,
Yeah.
and how grateful they are to have made it there. And isn't that the point? We go through these things so that we can learn. And once we've learned and we're on the other side, we can be so grateful for being there.
Mm.
If we don't have anything to compare to, which is, and we'll go to this in a minute, how can we know what we've got?
Mm.
Which is why people and the universe and everything was created. The all that is was like, I would really like to know how it feels when you don't have this unconditional love all the time, so that I can appreciate it, so that everything else can appreciate it. And that's how everything was created. That
Mm.
was the premise on which everything was created, and why separation was allowed to be.
Mm.
And so that all of creation and all of everything that's out there, because they're all watching us, they're all with us, they're sharing our experiences and going, oh, that's how that feels. Oh, I see how that feels. And
Mm.
then you get to the other side and they're like, we're so glad you made it here.
Yes. Yeah. And I think we need to just clarify too, not necessarily comparing for competition.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
comparing because you're curious about growing. You're curious about like uh it's that the one side of it is like keeping up with the Joneses, right? Oh, I need the boat in the garage and I need the fancy car and I need the this and I need, no, that's maybe some people's journey at this point. Okay. And that's not the
What did you learn
comparison,
from it?
right? That's not the comparison that we're talking about. Yeah. 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 So, yeah.
Yeah,
And
and all of that stuff really doesn't matter.
mm,
What does matter is all of the learning, all of the growing, all of the evolving that
mhm,
has been done.
yeah. And you and I both know very well that we can't take any of that physical stuff with us.
No, no. I've heard it said often that you don't generally see a hearse with a U-Haul behind it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Not my quote, by the way.
No. That's good.
Just really a cool quote.
Yeah, totally. Lightens the darkness there. Yeah, it's very interesting how we are
And
living.
quite frankly, from the experience of one who has been there,
Yeah.
you don't need any of that stuff on the other side.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's so lovely. This was a lot. This is a lot.
This was a huge amount.
Hmm.
And I think for people who are watching this after we finish, this may be one of those that you watch more than once, maybe many times.
Right.
Oh yeah, I
Yeah.
think that it would be hard to have assimilated all that the distance that we've covered in one single watching. But that's up to every person, and that's their choice.
Hmm. Yeah. And like you and I've said to each other, sometimes we have to go back and listen to a recording to know exactly what we actually said.
This is especially true for me because when we're in these, I'm I'm half here, half there, and they are with me. And so what's coming through me, if you ask me right as after we get done with this, what we talked about, um, I won't know.
Which is the neat part. And that can happen to me too. Sometimes in session I'll say something and the clients, silent, they need some time to process and then they say, "Can you say that again?" I'm like, "Oh, what did I say?" It's that flow state,
Mhm.
that allowing.
Yeah, and being in the flow state, which is so important.
Yes. Yeah. It's very, very cool. Thank you, my friend, always. And the wisdom keepers, thank you too.
And thank you always for time together. It's always a pleasure, and I'm always grateful for it.
Me too. Okay, thank you.